Thanksgiving Eve, Suns, second night of a back-to-back. Amazing game last night. So much fun. 127-100 over the Lakers. And tonight they give up 127 points, only score 117, and lose to the Brooklyn Nets. Just a team that they shouldn't be losing to, a team that's hampered by injuries, a team that, again, Matthew, they should not have lost this game. Should they have? I mean, the fuck, over?
No, they shouldn't have lost at all. But does it surprise you, though? I mean, it wasn't just a loss. It's the fact that we're going to probably have Beal and Durant out next game with ankle injuries. So it's not that. It's not the fact that, hey, we were playing against a team that could not stop shooting lights out from three, and we did nothing to contain them, nothing to like double Schroeder, who's absolutely going off talking shit all game. Like, there was no adjustments. It's the first time I feel like we've seen this season with the big three that they didn't make any adjustments under Bud to really kind of contain this game and get back into it, because we've had that trust with the big three. When Beal and Durant are healthy, we definitely trust that Bud's going to get things going and put the team in a position to win. Did not happen tonight. It was crazy, but it's a team that had nobody, a lot of injuries, so nothing to lose. One of the scariest things to do, or one of the scariest teams to face in the NBA when there's nothing to lose and you have the injuries.
Yeah, it got me thinking, and you know, it is the night before Thanksgiving, and I thought I'd come up with a little poem, and I'll call this "'Twas the Night Before Thanksgiving," the Suns edition. 'Twas the night before Thanksgiving, and across Suns Nation, the vibes had been soaring, brimming with elation. A blowout of the Lakers, 127-100, had fans dreaming of titles, their hopes wholly funded. Durant was electric, Beal back in stride, Booker's assists flowing, the team beaming with pride. But as Brooklyn approached, so depleted and bare, the Suns, it had seemed, needn't bring their flair. When out on the court, there arose such despair, the defense fell flat, as if unaware. The Nets down their stars with Claxton and Moore, found reserves who lit up, piling points on the score. Schroeder and Simmons, their only big names, shouldered the burden, unbothered by fame. But others emerged from deep on the bench to humble the Suns with a 10-point wrench. Durant dropped his 30, yet something was off. An effort waned thin and rotations went soft. Beal's mid-range was silky, Book's vision supreme, yet chemistry faltered, unraveling the dream. The Nets, now emboldened, saw their chance to grow, their scrappy young players delivering the blow. And while Suns fans sat stunned, a narrative grew. Why play to their level? This can't be new. For years they've been gifted with talent so bright, yet too often they crumble in games they should fight. Against giants, they're fearless, their mettle refined. But to underdogs, focus seems hard to find. As the buzzer resounded 127-117, a sobering reminder of what might have been. So Suns fans tucked in their Thanksgiving to start, but with the lingering doubts gnawing deep in their heart. For if banners they seek, this truth must be told. Consistency wins, not just moments of gold. Happy Thanksgiving, they muttered with sorrow. Let's hope for redemption when we play the Warriors on Saturday.
Not tomorrow.
No, because
we should have said tomorrow. I know, but when we play the Warriors tomorrow,
I don't know
if that made me feel better or just I can fully understand my sensitivity towards the Suns team now. I feel like, it's kind of just compacted in a way that I never knew before. And I'm eager to continue to grow with these poems throughout the season, through these losses, John.
All right. Anytime we have a loss, I'll fire up a poem. Let me plug in my internet here. And I'll plug in a beer. Let's plug in a beer. Let's talk about this game. What went well? What went wrong? Do I need to work on my poem game? We'll talk about that and more on this edition of Suns Jam Session Podcast. Yeah, 127 to 117. The Phoenix Suns are now 10-8 on the season after an unbelievably disappointing loss on the second night of a back-to-back against the Brooklyn Nets. And it brings me to the question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, can we take this Suns team seriously?
Yeah, last night we could have for sure. But it seems like a joke when this team's down about 20 points to the Brooklyn Nets, who are surrounded by injuries right now with the team, and they have these young guys going out there.
Surround them.
They're they're surrounding the team. They're just on the bench. I think that the fact that the Suns come into this game and it's a must win. You hit the first three with Durant, and things are looking pretty good. He's smiling and stuff. But then when the Nets team, they get hot, and you have to stop Schroeder. And the adjustments aren't made, it's a little difficult because it's like when the Suns started 8-1, you kind of believe in this team to make the adjustments. They didn't make the adjustments tonight. But there's also another thing too, where you have another guy on the other team talking shit, coming in here and Schroeder. And there's nothing more, I think, aggravating to me than an opposing player to come in and just kind of shoot lights out and just kill the Suns when our big three are healthy at the time.
Yeah.
Towards the 5-minute mark at the end of the game. Yes, there were a few injuries. But we had the three best players on the court. Those guys couldn't stand a chance against Schroeder. I know the stats look pretty good for Beal or for Booker and KD, but to have that guy show up again in the house like last season when these guys come in every time, just like, what is it, Charlie's mom on on It's Always Sunny when the Santas come in to have sex with her, or the elves? Yeah. Like, it's just like that. It's like we keep opening the door and there's a new Santa every time. It's like, oh, here, come on, my mom's upstairs, and they're just having sex with our mom upstairs.
It's such a great comparison. The challenge with this is we know what the post-game quotes are going to be, right? Like Bradley Beal is going to be like, well, we should have came in more focused and we just didn't. And you can't take a night off against anybody in the NBA. It's like, then why the fuck do you? Like, if you know that, if it's happened time and again where you play to the level of the competition, because that's what the Suns did tonight. For those of you who didn't watch, they came out with a lack of urgency. And on the other side, you saw a sense of urgency with Brooklyn. The Suns were passive. They were overpassing in the first quarter, which led to turnovers. And when you take a look right out of the gate, after, again, having an amazing game against the Lakers and an opportunity to carry that momentum over into the next game, they give up 34 points in the first quarter. And you and I, we did the playback on Bright Side of the Suns playback channel. It's one thing that we talked about after that first quarter. It's like, yeah, the Suns scored 37. They carried over that offensive mindset and ability, but they just decided, you know what? We are going to play sloppy. We are going to not play defense. And they had 5 turnovers in the first quarter, which led to 8 turnovers for the Nets. Well, that grew in this game to the Suns having 17 turnovers, which led to 24 points. It was a sloppy brand of basketball. Instead of being decisive like they were last night, they were decisive. They were crisp. They had fluidity. None of those things occurred in this game. It was clunky. It was overpassing. It was dribbling the ball off your foot, unfocused basketball. Which I know that as this podcast progresses and as I check in on Twitter and see what the post-game quotes say, it's going to be right along those lines where, yeah, we just weren't focused tonight. And I just wonder why, Matthew, why? And I love what John Tran says in the chat. He goes, I will take them seriously when they take themselves seriously. And that was the issue tonight. You take a look across the bench and you see that the majority of their major players are out. Shams Charania had just announced today that Cam Thomas is going to be out for the next 2 weeks and will be reevaluated. He's their number one scorer, right? You have multiple players. I mean, their injury list is 6 players deep. And you're like, oh, shit. And the moment I saw that, I'm like, watch, the Suns will come out and lose this game because they're the Suns. Because they're a team that isn't mentally strong enough to see these teams, the teams they should beat, the teams that when you're looking at your schedule at the back end of the season, and you go, fuck, man, we're a game away from the 5th seed, but we're going to end up being the 6th seed because in November against Brooklyn, we didn't show up. It happened to them last year against the Spurs. It happened multiple times against multiple teams where they didn't have the mental sharpness to execute. And ultimately, that's what it was tonight. They didn't defend at all, man. The Suns defense is ass. I'm going to say it right here. They're ass. The reason that the Lakers scored 100 points and that's it, it wasn't because our defense was amazing. They were missing shots. They're missing their wide open shots. That's the why. Don't you agree?
No, I don't think I do agree. The only reason is because I have to kind of look at it in a different way. I know that the team can play like ass at certain times, but it's like the try was actually there, but then also there were lapses. And I think the lapses come because, they were comfortable after last game's win. They were walking off the court, right? They have those little behind the scene camera angles, like where they're coming in and Beal's like W, and they're just talking shit, having a good time. And they get the win. They're back, 27-point victory over the Lakers. And then you come into this game, you kind of think, we'll be there in the end, because that's the way they have been this whole season when they're healthy. Like the first 8-1, like they're a team that they were very mentally strong, right? Those all 9 of those games with Kevin Durant to start, they were mentally strong. They knew they can rely on KD to come through. But I think the fact that this Brooklyn Nets team was just so hot at the right times where they would get the extra rebound. And I know it comes down to hustle and stuff like that, but I just feel like it was just one of those games where like you could just do nothing to stop this team. But also the Suns just didn't put forth the effort as much defensively towards the end of the game. And I think maybe they were looking for like, hey, bud, are we going to like get subbed out of this game? Because for me, in a game like this in the fourth quarter, Aussie Suns fans podcast, Gavin was talking about put in the bench. 9 minutes left. We're down about 20 points.
Shot of energy.
Let's see what they can do, because obviously that team, that first unit, didn't have it with Grayson Allen. They didn't have it. They didn't have it. The stats were there, but they just didn't have that thing like a Kogi could have probably brought, or Ryan Dunn guarding Schroeder or something like that. Do something a little different. So I feel like there's going to be these games because it is in the NBA, but it's up to Bud to really just kind of get this team out of the funk. Like they're in their heads with the refs in the third quarter. Like I understand the fouls not being called, and like I can't get into that because we've done that in the past with the Suns where they get in their heads over the refs. It's like something they have to move past. And I think they really got to fixate on, if we're in these times in the third quarter just struggling, can they go to Bud and be like, you know what, let's get some other guys out there to get us going, because we just don't have it in us right now to knock down these shots. And that's where it's kind of difficult to understand, because I feel like you kind of are just saying like this team is kind of a little bit more weak-minded.
They're mentally weak.
Yeah, you don't want to say that, but then it's just like, well, who's going to take the charge? It's going to be the coach. But it has to be Bud though to make those changes, because we don't have the guys out there right now that can just stand up straight. All right, let's get going, team. They can't do that. They have to rely on Bud, and Bud was that guy in the first 9 games.
Because they're mentally weak. That's the challenge. And until I see otherwise, I'm going to have this observation on this team that when adversity hits them, they crumble. That's the 2024 Suns thus far. When they face adversity, they don't do well. When they face the adversity of having no Bradley Beal or no Kevin Durant, they go 1-6. When they face the adversity in this situation where they are not playing with the correct amount of energy, they can't stop the opposition. Dennis Schroeder is chirping the entire game at them, and they don't have the mental fortitude to overcome that and shut him the fuck up. That's mental weakness. Now, it's not something that at least you hope it's not going to be a continual characteristic of this team, but that's what we're seeing so far from this team. They have talent. They don't have that mental toughness that you need to win 4 playoff rounds when it comes time to play in the postseason. It's the mentally strong teams, the ones who face adversity and goes, you know what, we can come out the other side. Now, don't get me wrong. At the front end of the season, it looked like a mentally strong team because of the way that they performed in the clutch, right? But that was just Kevin Durant's mental toughness. You need everyone on this team to follow his lead and have the ability to step up when the going gets tough, because the going got tough tonight. This is a team that was up at halftime, and they've been the third quarter Suns. And 33 points is what they give up to 21 points on their own. And that was the game. That was the game right there. The third quarter, normally the quarter that they own. Turnovers, 7 turnovers in that quarter. Sloppy basketball, unfocused basketball. The mindset of, hey, you know what? We did it last night. We were up 62-60 at halftime. Let's just pop back out there and we're going to own them. And the the Brooklyn Nets, to their credit, had much more fire, energy, hustle, grit, and took advantage of poor Suns defense. And I'll fall back on that Suns defense. Right now, the Suns defense, from a defensive rating standpoint, we're 20th in the league. We're bottom third in the league in defense. And that's something that, as we were watching the game, I keep harping on this fact. I feel like it's a cold hard fact of basketball. If you play with some, especially when you have the level of talent the Phoenix Suns have, if you play with some give a shit on the defensive end, you're going to create offensive opportunities. If you're locked in on the defense, we've seen it with Phoenix before, not much with this specific team, but you think of when the tide changes in a game, it's not because the opposing team just stops hitting shots. It's because we're forcing them into tough situations. And you didn't see that tonight. Looking at last night when they played against the Los Angeles Lakers, they played with great defense in that third quarter. Wide open shots, they only gave up 8 in that third quarter. They gave up 6 wide open 3-point shots to the Lakers, and that's what won them the game. The entire game, they gave up 15 total 3-pointers that were considered wide open. Wide open is no defender within 6 feet. But also, the Lakers shot 13% on those shots. So they were missing, and we had that jolt of energy coming out of the third quarter, and that's why we won the game. The script was simply flipped tonight, and this is one chapter in the long chapter that is the Suns. But this mental weakness is something that, again, I'm making a note of it here in game 18 of the year. We have to have the ability to play through those whistles, play through the chirping, play through the physicality. Because, the Nets were physical tonight, right?
They were, but if you want to really talk about the free throws and the refs and all that, I'm not giving into hey, the refs didn't bail the Suns out. The 28 free throw attempts to the 22, the Suns had a 6+ advantage there. Mm-hmm. So you can't really look at that. And if you want to cry to mom and dad, to get you out of the fight in the third quarter, it's disappointing because, okay, so the Lakers just lost 3 in a row, right? Including the Suns game last night. That was 3 in a row. Their fan base is falling apart. They won tonight. Oh, they're back at it. But what the Lakers did last night is they relied on LeBron to do a lot, where it seemed like, when LeBron wants to have those off games and just kind of take a night off, that's what he's going to do. So then we're well, the defense played great, right? A lot of the times, the players just don't have it. LeBron won't have it, so the rest of the team won't go as LeBron goes. Dalton Connect tonight had 20 points last night. Struggle with the Suns against the Suns. So it is a game-to-game basis thing, but also the way the Suns are just kind of back to where they were before, going after the refs, not getting calls, worrying about that. But it's hey, you're actually getting more free throw attempts than the Nets. That's frustrating to me because you should be getting to the rim. EJ was saying it all game long. Get to the rim, get to the rim. Bradley Beal was doing that.
Yeah, they had no shot blockers.
No, they didn't. So they were getting to the rim. Plumlee was a little bit more aggressive, but also it's get to the rim, trading 2 for 3s, and you just got to hope the Nets miss a 3. But a lot of the 3s were wide open, and also the Suns were running at them, and they were still hitting them. So it's such a tough thing to say because the only thing that sticks out, like you said, the mental toughness, that's the one thing that does stick out. But how did the Suns get better? Who is that one guy to step up on the court? Because we don't have that guy anymore, like a Jay Crowder anymore, to shut guys up. But maybe we do. Maybe we have it in Josh Okogie or Ryan Dunn. So why weren't they not thrown out there to stop this team, to kind of shut them up, get some fouls on them? You waste 6 fouls. Who cares? Just to shut Schroeder up. No one does that. Instead, they're talking to the guy. They're laughing back and forth, talking shit. It just seemed like a friendly game, which maybe just doesn't matter, but it does matter to the Suns fans because right now we want to get on a winning streak. And now we have another game not till Saturday. It's just this is a sour taste in our mouths until Saturday.
Yeah, we have to eat our Thanksgiving dinner with a sour taste of gravy in our mouths because the Suns. Seth Logan said it perfectly. Seth was watching the game along with us on our playback channel. And again, if you haven't, go to playback.tv, follow the Bright Side of the Sun playback channel. Quite often we watch the game right there with you, and we're talking, having conversations, and we do a little of the basketball reference immaculate grid during commercial breaks. But Seth said they are sprinting, we are jogging. And that's the personification of what occurred tonight. If you wanted a summation of what happened tonight, well, fuck, man, we lost by 10. What happened? We're sitting around Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow, right? Your mom's sitting there. She made some amazing gravy. She put some egg in it. It's fucking delicious. My wife makes some amazing stuffing. Stephanie's is she doing the green bean casserole this year?
Not sure, man.
Fuck, I love that green bean casserole. Bacon in there makes it really
Pretty
good.
sure.
But if one of them turns to us randomly, and quite shockingly, to be quite frank, goes, why did the Suns lose last night? It's like, well, the Nets were sprinting, the Suns were jogging. They were just playing with a different pace. They were playing with a different level of give a shit. And again, that's the challenge for this team. And it's a frustration that we will have on and off. And every team faces this, right? I mean, if you're a Warriors fan, who the Suns will be playing on Saturday, you just experienced this on Monday from this same exact team. The Nets have a fire about them, and they dictated the pace. They dictated the pace because the guy who should have dominated in this game ended up playing like 16 minutes.
Nurkic definition make them boys go crazy.
Oh. Nurkic, after we talked about how great he played last night and how he catapulted the Phoenix Suns to victory in that third quarter, 16 minutes, 2 of 2 from the field, 7 rebounds, 3 personal fouls, a turnover, negative 13 out there. And it's interesting because you think this would be an opportunity for Nurkic to cook, to have one of those games where it's just like, hey, he can pound them down low, because they had, like we said, no size, no shot blockers on this team. Yet they dictated pace. They were hitting threes because defensively, Nurk can't play in a 5-out system on the defensive end. But the advantage is like, hey, if we can utilize him on the offensive end and abuse them on the interior, they're guys who are going to stretch the floor on Nurk are getting in foul trouble. But Nurk, I mean, this was a bad Nurk game, and we know they're gonna happen. But it's interesting because it comes out on the heels of the comments he made last night.
1 for 6, and AD was pretty much going up early.
I mean, I don't look at it that way. I feel like the open shots are open shots. The threes felt great. Could go in, could not. Didn't, but felt good with my hand. Those floaters I got, decent shots. So sometimes it's like that. You ain't going to start. So it's easy when you have 10, 15 shots. You figure out. But I've been judged, I feel like, for the most of the part since I got here the most, and feels like everybody just want me to play KD role, but with 2 shots. It's not how it works. And
since Yusuf Nurkic got here, he's been judged the most, and people want him to play the KD role. What the fuck does that mean, Matthew?
Well, he's been judged this season a lot. Last season, we didn't judge him at all. We loved what he brought to the team. Big fans of him last year. Things have changed, though, man. There's the expectations have rose. And when you hear comments like that, it doesn't hit me the right way. It's just like, it kind of starts with the whole mental thing again, man. It's like, are they mentally tough? Like, are you going to listen to these fans? Are you going to block them? Are you going to get over it? What are you going to do, right? You just got to get over it and move on and play your game. We're going to accept Nurkic for who he is, and that's fine. He's a good center, right? He's not going to be the guy to win us a fucking championship, and we don't compare him to KD. But then if he is missing layups, it is frustrating. If he's going to be a guy that lives in an apartment next to a fucking old person's home and there's always a fucking siren outside, then it's frustrating. Every time I'm trying to... Yeah, but
every time you make a point.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like, there's just, like, I'll go back to the expectations. There's a lot on this team to win a championship this year, right? And our guys keep getting hurt. We're probably going to miss some Saturday. So there's a lot more pressure on Nurk just to kind of get things down, not to mess up, not to screw up. And at the beginning of the season, he was screwing up a lot. He went through a stretch that was really fantastic for about a week. He played really good ball. Then he's been kind of off and on. But to me, I don't care. Like, as long as he's playing good, I don't care. I'm not looking at him and be like, God damn, this guy, he's doing terrible. Unless he's doing too much. If he's doing spin-a-roonies like he was tonight on the 3-point line and just turning the ball over, stuff like that, then yeah, that is frustrating. But that's every player. I'm frustrated with Grayson Allen. Like, what the fuck is he doing missing all those threes, coming off screens and doing all that stuff? So it's just the relationship between the fans and the team is just very strange, because we have KD, who is always on Twitter talking shit to people, which is fine. He can do whatever he wants. But these guys are just like, they hate us. Like, they're like, oh, I hate being judged. It's like, Dude, this is just part of it. Like, I don't know, like any industry you go into, you're going to be judged by people on the outside. It's just they don't go to Twitter and talk about it. They talk about it behind closed doors while you're just in the other room. That's how they do it. But I don't know, man. I don't like the way this team is doing their interviews and just closing these kind of games out, but whatever.
I think it's funny. We were talking about it on playback, and it is so true. If this team wins a championship, they won't even do a parade because they hate the fans so much.
Yeah,
they hate the
they're gonna be
fans. They
somewhere
hate the
smoking cigars by
media.
themselves.
Yeah, they'll be at the Ambassador in a private suite because they do. Like, I've never seen a team that so actively lashes back out at the fan base. And then, like, and the rest of that interview was what Nurkic is saying. He justifies his judgment. He says, the internet's not a good place to be on because the judgment occurs, and that's why he thinks he's been so judged, is because people, provide feedback about his performances on Twitter, and then he goes and simply blocks them. And one of the funniest things that I find over the past just 24 hours is there was that specific interview from the Brightside Twitter account. I retweeted it, and I go, this is exactly right. And now please unblock Darth Voida. And Nurk Muse, right? Like every player has like a Muse count, right? Like Stat Muse, they have a Muse count. So there's Nurk Muse, and they always pull up his stats and say how good he's doing and whatnot. He responded to it, and he's like, nope, it's not going to happen. And then that guy got blocked. He's like, I got blocked by Nurkic. It's like, yeah, because Nurk blocks everybody. This team. And so we talk about that, and we talk about Nurk talking about how he's being judged, and for some reason saying like people want him to fill the KD role. I don't know what part of Twitter he's hanging out where everyone thinks he should fill the KD role. Not happening. But another sign of mental weakness to go to social media and to lash out at the fans, the people who support your team, and go and buy the tickets and buy the merch and want you to do well. And when you don't do well, they're frustrated. And I get it. But like you said, Matthew, it's part of the deal. Nurkic gets paid $18 million a year. He's going to make more this year than I will like in my entire lifetime. And somebody's being critical because he can't hit a floater, which he's being paid to hit. And it frustrates him. And there's the human factor. All of these players are humans. And they have feelings. And when people criticize them, nobody wants to feel or hear that. So there's options, right? One, you just turn the shit off. You pull a Matthew Lissy and your account magically gets deleted. And 60 days after it's deleted, you're like, oh shit, that's deleted. I haven't even checked. I mean, like, that's the way to do it. If you can't handle the criticism, don't go to the places where criticism is going to occur. The second is just hit the fucking stop doing the twirly doodly doos and fucking.
And the other take I kind of have is just, these guys they have been babied their whole life too, because they've been the best players where they're from, right? So everyone's loved them their whole life. Now they face a little bit of criticism. So like, what would mama say? Like, if you go to mama and complain about this, she'd be like, just smack you in the fucking face and be like, wake up, you're in the NBA. Just go fucking do your job and ignore these hoes. Like, why do you care so much about what we're talking about? Like, we do this for each other. We don't do it so a basketball player can watch us. Like, that'd be great. Maybe you can come on and be a guest, but they're not going to watch this fucking podcast. And if they are, then screw you. Like, I don't care. Like, screw you for watching us, dude. Like, right now, like, if you're watching this, Nurkic, which
screw you, screw
right?
you.
Probably mad because I don't have you on the screen behind me. Just screw you guys.
Well, we do have an award. I have to go back in the annals of our history.
I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, I know. I got to find it. It's been so long since I played. Here it is.
The Jack Taylor Award for the guy who comes out of nowhere and scores a shit ton of points on you.
That's right. You might not remember the Jack Taylor Award. We haven't had it handed out in quite some time. But Jack Taylor, if you don't remember, is a guy who scored like 138 points, came out of nowhere, and holds the all-time leading record for points scored in a collegiate game. Tonight, it was a guy that I've never heard of. I don't know, maybe you've heard of him, but his name is Tyrese Martin. He went 10 of 13 from the field, including 8 of 10 from beyond the arc, had 30 fucking points against us tonight. This guy just couldn't fucking... It's like everybody on the court was playing NBA 2K on normal mode, and he just was playing on rookie mode, just hitting everything. Like, why did we lose tonight? Well, one, the Suns were jogging while the opposition was sprinting, And they got Tyrese Martin out here going 8 of 10 from beyond the arc, doing his best Klay Thompson, Steph Curry impression, going for 30. The guy's career high coming into this in 2 seasons was 6 points, Matthew. It was 6 points. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was 6 points. What the fuck, over?
Yeah, Tyrese Martin, just to look out for you and your well-being, your mental health. Don't get too full of yourself, man. Don't continue to carry this kind of career where you can put up 8 3-pointers a game or maybe even knock down 5 or 6 per game, because it's going to lead to a lot of bad shit on Twitter, and you're just going to have to read it and be very depressed about it. So just hopefully this is your one game. You can go back in the shadows where no one really cares about you.
Do you think we should start a Tyrese Martin Muse page? Maybe I'll suggest to that Nurk Muse page, because obviously he's dealing with something because the guy he's musing no longer cares about him. But hey, man, you should become a Tyrese Martin Muse page. I'll tweet that out at him after the show. Go ahead.
You think Tyrese thinks like he knows life's tough and it really does suck? I don't know.
No, I think he knows that when you play the Suns and the majority of your team's injured, you're going to go for a career night. Because, like, once upon a time, Cam Thomas was kind of a nobody on the Brooklyn Nets. He was a rookie, but no one had really seen him play because he had the opportunity. And a few guys were injured. They played the Suns, and he fucking went off against us too. It's this continual thing. There's a reason why it is. There's something about playing in Phoenix because, again, it's the mental weakness of the Suns. They look at the opposing team. They see 6 guys are in street clothes. They're like, man, we got this, man. We don't have to. We just came out. We're off a high. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. We don't have to play. We're going to go spend some time with our family. And let's just go and just get this over with. And meanwhile, Tyrese Martin has nothing to live for. He's not spending Thanksgiving with his family. He's going to be on a flight to wherever the fuck Brooklyn's off to next. And so he's like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to cook. And cook he did. He was cooking with he was throwing the turkey in the deep fryer. You ever see those videos where they show the fire department throwing the turkey into a deep fryer and it automatically just like there's flames everywhere?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know why that happens? Like the one thing they don't tell you, because the turkey's frozen. You never put a frozen turkey in a boiling hot water.
Is that what it is? Okay,
it's what it is. They don't tell you that. They just show a turkey. If you take this turkey and you put it into, if you're going, what's that called? Deep frying? Is it deep fried turkey?
Yeah,
that's the term.
I think that's what David's doing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what he's doing tomorrow. But I guarantee you, Dave's not going to take a frozen piece of turkey, because what happens when water hits hot oil? It creates more oil. It creates combustion. I'll never forget, once upon a time, I was cooking. For those of you who don't know, I was a cook in the military for 10 years. I was 3 years active duty, 7 years in the National Guard. And I was stationed in Camp Casey, Korea as a cook. And that's why, I can't tell you. I have such unbelievable. I'm so thankful for tomorrow because I don't work in the service industry anymore. This is my first year not working in the service industry, and I'm not a cook in the Army anymore, because when the big holidays would come around, everyone had the time off. Like, it sucks that you're not home. You're stationed in Korea, but at least you had a couple days off to celebrate Thanksgiving, unless you were a cook. But that being said, one time I was cooking and I took some frozen chicken and I just threw it in the fryer because we ran out of chicken on the line. And my sergeant, I was a young private, and my sergeant's like, "Hey man, we need some more fried chicken." I was like, "Oh, let me just take this," and I put it in there and just oil everywhere. Just it overflows it instantly because it's frozen. It's the water, the way it reacts with the oil just makes it overflow. And I had to clean it all up, and I did so with grits. I threw grits on the ground, and grits absorbed the grease, and that was a good way to clean up your
fire in the kitchen. Huh? Everyone down! Frozen chicken.
No, the only time there was everyone down was, and this is what always drove me crazy about being in the Army. And for anyone who's in the military and you're listening or watching this, you can probably have empathy for this, or at least some understanding. The way that they promote people in the military isn't based off your specific job skill set knowledge. It's based off your general Army knowledge. Like, you go in front of a board, like, the maximum effective range of a M16 A2 rifle is 100 meters, sergeant. Instead of being like, I'm a cook, I need to know how to cook. Because if I'm going to be a leader of cooks, I should probably know how to cook so I can lead them appropriately. And there was one guy who was making a roux one time. And a roux essentially is butter then you put flour in it, and you get it to a certain consistency to where it's almost like peanut. It looks like peanut butter, and then you can put milk in there, and that thickens the milk, right? That's how you make a white gravy. And the guy was doing it, and he let the oil cook too long, and it started it caused a little grease fire. And our E7, our mess daddy, our sergeant first class came in, and he looked around, he grabbed flour, and he threw it on to the flame to try to smother it. But flour is an accelerant to a grease fire. So all of a sudden, everyone's like, everybody down. A huge flame in the kitchen. I'm like, dude, this guy's leading me. You throw baking soda on a grease fire. That's what smothers it. So there you go. Random cooking knowledge.
Well, I mean, did you guys do that on purpose just for attention or what?
No, we had bad cooks, man. So the thing about being a cook in the Army, fun story. I mean, we're just going to go off, and I've had a few beers, and you're listening. So
I'm just going to log off now.
Yeah, good night. So when you join the Army and you take the ASVAB test, it's an aptitude test, and you have 200. At least when I joined back in 2003, you have 201 different ways where you can be a soldier in an army of one. And after my ASVAB, luckily, I had the opportunity to be any one of those 201 jobs. And I wanted to do broadcast journalism. But I had to wait 6 months to go to basic training, which would have put me at basic training in the middle of winter. And I'm from Arizona and California. I am a Southwestern kid. I don't do well in the cold. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. And I looked at the list. I'm like, I'll be a cook. Girls like a guy who can cook. It's a valuable skill to have. And that's what I chose. But what I didn't realize is that if you score low on the ASVAB test, you have one of two options. You can be infantrymen, where like, here's a rifle, go shoot things, or you could be a cook. So ultimately what that meant is I worked when I was in the military for 10 years around people who just processed things at a different rate than I did. They couldn't see the whole picture. They were very focused on the tasks at hand. And one of those tasks was trying to make a roux, and they just didn't tend to it long enough, and they created a fire.
And she said, you're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley. Bo, bo.
I fucking love our podcast. Bradley Beal, you think you got injured at the end of the game?
Yeah. So I mentioned on Play Black. Why wouldn't he just retire? But also, James, let me know, are you able to retire when you're on a contract? I don't think you are. But I'm just saying, like, it just kind of sucks because he got hurt again. But all he did was just run in to try to grab a rebound, offensive rebound. And he stepped on some guy's foot. And it didn't look too bad, right? So I don't know if it's going to be anything that's going to be drastic, reevaluated in 2 weeks or something like that. But he didn't look very happy. He looked very sad. And when he was on the bench standing there, he looked like he maybe had a few tears in his eyes because he's just probably fucking sick of it. And I feel definitely bad for the dude, but like, what do you do from here though? Like, there just comes a point where it's just like, do you just have to put him on the bench? I don't know, John, what do you do? We just have to get through it one more season and just see if we can make it to the end. Cause but that's why like we're freaking out when they went on the 1-6 run. Like everyone's like, it's fine. We'll be back. We'll be healthy. But like, that's the thing. We're not going to ever be healthy. We're not. So that's a frustrating part. I don't care about the record. I know we're going to lose games without KD and Beal, but it's the fact that these guys can just not stay on the court. And it is frustrating as a fan, but it's just kind of sad too.
100% it is. And as you mentioned, I think he checked out of the game with 6:38 left in the fourth quarter after stepping on somebody's ankle. He walked very slowly over to the bench. They mentioned when they came back from the timeout that he was still standing because he had that look on his face like, fuck me, here it is again. And as fans, that's what we were feeling. It's like, fuck me, here we are again. You know, Bradley Beal, who was the only person who was actually playing with some give a shit, it felt like in that final quarter. When the team is down, he finally unlocked the fact that he's like, oh, if I just drive to the basket every time, there's no shot blocker here. He went 3 or 5 for 6 points in that fourth quarter. He ended the night with a total of 17 points on 8 of 14 shooting, but it's because he was taking dumb mid-range shots instead of attacking the interior. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be just, it's this mental barrier that he has to try to overcome again and again and again. And at some point it has to be so tiring where, I mean, you're not going to retire because you're getting paid $50 million.
I know.
And this isn't something that's like, well, we'll just see at the end of the season. Cause no, we have him under contract for 2 more seasons, no trade clause. But here's what he had to say to Dwayne Rankin after the game.
Yeah. I took my ankle at the end of the game. I was getting a little tight. I kind of expected that. I was just being a little smart about it at the end. Once I took my ankle, I was like, all right, just calm
Was that your left ankle? Because you
Same side of everything else.
because you stepped on, I don't know who, I can't remember whose foot you stepped on initially. Was it? But yeah, I mean, I think it was a couple of times. That's why I'm asking.
All right, so you hear that. He says it's the same ankle, same
Was
side.
he wearing a Nurk hat? Was that a Nurk beanie?
I don't know what that it might have been. They're all getting behind Nurk, I mean KD or whatever he thinks he is. But you hear that. You're the body language guy. Tell me what you saw in that body language for those of you who are listening.
Well, from the interview, I just think that it's a guy that's just frustrated with it, man. And I always compare it to the migraine thing. It's like people don't understand. Like it just gets frustrating when it keeps happening. It's like I don't know what to do, right? You just kind of get down in the dumps, and you're just like, "Fuck, dude, I just get through it and just move on." But then it's just the same exact thing with Beal. It's just kind of he's embarrassed in a way, right? He's just like, this is just embarrassing because I just don't want to be here in Phoenix knowing that it's no trade clause. I can't retire even though Matthew Lissy wants me to retire. Like I have to keep playing.
Not just Matthew Lissy.
But the fact that, if I'm going to keep tweaking my ankle, my calf's going to keep acting up on back-to-backs, like it's going to be a thing that's going to be frustrating the rest of the year. So it seems like a guy that's tired of it and tired of talking about it.
Yeah, it's and I know for those of you who are listening, you probably couldn't hear it too much. But it was very soft, somber looking Bradley Beal talking to Dwayne Rankin about how, yeah, it was the same calf or same ankle.
Yeah.
He said he could feel his calf tighten, which is obviously not what you want to hear from Bradley Beal. Now, the saving grace here is, as I mentioned during that unfortunate losing streak, is as long as we got 2 of the 3 guys healthy, we have a chance. I'm not going to say we can win. We have a chance. Because when Booker was by himself and there was no Kevin Durant and there was no Bradley Beal, we didn't have a chance. And we saw that play out over those 7 games when we went 1-6 with our only win coming against the fucking Utah Jazz, right? So with Kevin Durant and Booker, we still have a chance. But to your point with Bradley Beal, and the way that he's feeling, and you could see it in his eyes, you can hear it in his voice. It's this sense of he's dejected. He's frustrated. It's like you said, when you get those migraines, and just know that, whenever you text me that you have a migraine and you can't make it, I'm never like, fucking Matthew, God damn it again. Because I know that it's nothing that you can help. It's the same thing with Bradley Beal. As a fan, it's the same way. You feel bad because he can't help the fact that he's injured. Does it suck? Does it suck when you have a migraine? It's like, yeah, now I have to do a couple extra things. I got to text, like Jake or Gavin, be like, hey, you want to do the pod? And they're like, yeah, and or Sun's Geek. And that's that. Like, oh, man, all that extra work I have to do. For him, there's much more mental hurdles because there's a level of expectation that he should be performing. And there's all this weight of the world. No one expects you to come on here and perform like Bradley Beal, Matthew.
So when you say the Suns have a chance, too, do you just mean like a championship contender?
No, a chance to win a game without him. A championship contender, no. I'm just saying, like, if he's not playing against the Warriors on Saturday, which I'm guessing he won't, we still have a chance to win the game.
Yeah. But let's just say, like, we just have 2 of these guys, and it is Kevin Durant and Booker at the end of the season, and we have the same team. Like, Mavericks, Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers, Grizzlies, Rockets, Warriors, Thunder. Like, what, 2 of those teams maybe we can beat in a series? Maybe. I don't really, obviously we're coming off a loss, but we just did dethrone the Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers I'm not overly worried about just because I don't think they'll be there. But a lot of those teams, like the Rockets are a team that's feisty with youth. And what we saw tonight was a reminder of the challenge that this team faces. And when we play young, youthful teams, they just run us off the court. And that's what the Nets did tonight. They just ran us off the court. So OKC, are you shitting me? We don't stand a fucking chance against OKC because they're young and talented. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
So then why don't we just blow it up now? Because I'm looking at it where I'm just like, okay, we'll be competitive. It'll be fun. But I even like the article I released. Like, I just was like, you know what? I just don't think, like last year where you admitted, like, we're just not good, right? I think halfway through the season, like, I'm already kind of that way. Even after the win, I'm like, I'm excited, but like, I just don't think as a championship contender. So like, I guess you just can't do anything now because of all the names we signed.
Bingo.
But I know, but it's just it sucks because we just see the West keep getting better, younger, and we're just stuck here with these guys that are injury prone and old. So if we have guys around them that are good role players, but it's just not enough, and you just know it's not enough. And I'm not talking about just because it's tonight's loss. It's just
No. This is something you
they
wrote this
struggle.
earlier this week, and I thought it was a really good article, and I love it because of the perspective that you provided. It's a reminder, and you just said it. The West is getting younger, better, faster, and the Suns are getting older and more injury prone. And it's a mentality shift that Matt Ishbia at some point is going to make, because you take a look at the landscape of the NBA and you go, oh shit. Having guys in their 30s who are injury prone isn't equating to success. I wonder why that is. Oh, I mean, you go back. Who was it earlier this year who got injured? It was Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn rolled an ankle, remember? And he was back within 2 games. He missed one game. He was back. He could have played that game, but they wanted to be cautionary. It's because the guy's like 21 years old, right? You bounce back faster at that stage of your life from a recovery standpoint, just naturally. Then you add in all the other external factors of the conditioning and the medical staffs that surround these teams. So there will be a shift at some point when the Suns will recognize that, you know what, the ship has sailed on this iteration of Suns management and the way that we approach how we're building a team. The unfortunate thing, and this is something we've banged the gavel throughout the entire offseason and for a season and a half, is when it comes to the case like Bradley Beal, you took on the worst contract in the NBA because it's untradeable. You can't find somebody in the NBA who needs to sell a few tickets and you go, hey, take this guy. Here's, he's $50 million a year. Give us a guy back. Give us 2 guys back. Give us roster flexibility. The only guys you can do that with are Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And we are in November, late November. February is a month and a half away, 2 months away. Decisions will be made based on the state of the team at that time, whether or not they're going to continue to go down this path or if it is in blow it up mode. I don't think that it's in blow it up mode now. I don't think that Matt Ishbia is in
I don't think so.
that mode of thinking. I don't think we as fans should be in that mode of thinking yet. But we do know that that is what's on the horizon for us as Suns fans. That is what lies before us as the Suns Jam Session podcast and writers for Bright Side of the Suns. Is what is that going to be? How is that going to look? Because a day of reckoning will ultimately come for this organization, because this isn't sustainable basketball. Not having draft picks, not having youth, trying to hire assassins, hoping that all these assassins who possess talent can somehow mesh and provide a chemistry, an organic chemistry that can survive 4 rounds of basketball. Age can't survive 4 rounds of basketball, man. Old teams don't win. Name the last old team that won. It's probably the Lakers in 2020.
Probably, yeah. It might be that says, y'all, it was a back-to-back. Maybe they were tired. Damn. But, yeah, I understand that too. But it's also the same thing as talking about, like, hey, when this team is healthy, we'll be fine. It's just that's a frustrating thing. Everyone has a back-to-back. So it's going to be one of those things where maybe they sit out this game and it's okay. But it's just like that's going to hurt us in the standings too. Just losing those guys, knowing that Booker can't hold it up himself. Like if those guys have to sit out back-to-backs, like it's going to be okay. That's 13 more or 12 more losses for the Suns, including all the games that they actually play together. So I just think it's the frustrating part of just a long season again.
It is,
and just dealing with this.
It's the peaks and the valleys. I mean, that's why that's why we do the podcast. That's why you guys tune into it. It's the highs and the lows, the trying to understand the what and the why, and find the meaning of life, or at least the Suns' life, right? And to Maya's point, maybe it's a back-to-back, they're tired. I can understand that, but at the same time, like I feel like anytime we play a team on the back-to-back, because they're on the second night of back-to-back, they're more locked in. Right? I mean, isn't that the argument whenever we lose to a team that just came off the second night? It's, well, Dallas was playing on the second night of back-to-back. It's like, well, yeah, they were playing last night. They're coming in with the rhythm. They're feeling it. The Suns had a couple nights off, and they came out flat. And again, to the Suns' credit, they didn't come out flat tonight, and they didn't wane in the fourth quarter. They had a rough third quarter. They turned the ball over. They weren't playing with the same kind of energy in that third quarter because, again, they lacked that mental toughness to get through those barriers. And I mean, we'll see in time how it ultimately plays out. And I will say that I am going to do the subreddit stakeout, and it was fucking lame in Brooklyn tonight. The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout. Where were we? Where am I? Why do I do this?
Lights on too, huh?
Yeah, I'm keeping
with
the
the
light
lights on.
I was drinking beers during the playback, and now here I am drinking more beers during the podcast. I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about anymore. All right. I want to win this one for KD reasons. You got to remember, this is Brooklyn, man. They're not a fan of KD.
Not at all.
Or Kyrie.
He wanted out of there a year.
Yep.
Until he's traded.
Do the Suns have a collection of the most unlikable players in the league? And somebody responded, really just Booker and Allen. People still hate Grayson Allen for some reason. I could see Grayson Allen as like, you know, you go down to the store and there's an old lady who needs help with their groceries, and he's out there helping her with her groceries on during Thanksgiving week. You know,
something's up with him though. There's something, that little smile he has. He's hiding a lot. I don't know what
it'll always be the Dukey part, man. He played for Duke, and I can't stand Duke. I switched to Phoenix Stream to hear their perspectives. They're dumbfounded. Yeah, we all were. Yep. KD still a net. 6 turnovers for him. I guess he didn't.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And then the only other one I had, I mean, I'm no cap. There was like 40 total comments in this one.
Yeah.
They weren't even bitching because they had no right to bitch. Tyrese Martin might be a better basketball player than Mikal Bridges. LMAO.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right. A few more. What's that?
Oh, are you doing Jamstar?
Oh, no.
Nurk.
No.
Oh, wait. Oh, what are we doing?
Oh, not yet. Well, a couple other things. I mean, we went on some very good basketball conversations. And again, I hope that's why people tune in, not just because we're goofy and we talk about dicks all the time. I will say this, just for prosperity. I don't think that's the right word. But just for the sake of doing it, I do want to play this drop if I can fucking find it. Jeez, drinking. Just so if you're listening, it sounds normal, but if you're watching, it's different.
Sha la 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 la. Mr. Jones and me.
Turned out real nice. It's Tyus Jones with no wizards, all Phoenix Suns highlights in there. I was doing the podcast with you last night as I was driving home. You played the drop, and everyone's, can you fucking update that shit, boy? I finally did.
No, it was nice. But the game by him stats-wise, 10-12. So the thing in the beginning of the season was, hey, we're not really playing through Tyus at all. Like the big three were really just taking over. So you see the 12 assists, you think, is that the first time he's hit 12 assists this year? I feel like it is.
I think he had 11.
Did he have 11? But I don't think I've ever seen more than 12.
Point, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just going through him and trying to run the offense through him, it's something that seems nice. But like the Nurk thing, man, we're just going to live and die by by Beal, Durant, and Booker. Just like them handling the ball a lot more and just trying to facilitate the offense. I don't know. Tyus is just a weird season. I don't know. It's been good. He's been good. It's just like it's nothing that's been too crazy one way or the other. Like, oh, he's been a good, a setup guy, or he's been a good, 3-point shooter. Like he's always been just doing whatever is there. So good for him to kind of stick in there through a rough season. I feel like this so far to find his way.
Yeah, I think, I mentioned a little bit on the podcast on the drive home, it's about managing our expectations of what he should be, because we're so used, especially in Phoenix of all places, of what a traditional point guard looks like. And while he possesses a traditional point guard skill set, he's not being utilized in a traditional point guard way. And that is high usage rate, setting up the offense. And Jake made a great point from the Suns Planet podcast last night on calling him a resetter. He's a great resetter of a possession when a possession goes south. And it's just understanding that that's kind of what he should be, because I'm with you. I'm like, well, he should bring the ball up and he should run the high pick and roll. Like we don't see him run the high screen and roll hardly ever. It feels like It feels like it's KD running it off of a Beal screen or a Booker screen or KD off a Tyus screen or a Nurkic screen. So there's a lot of wrinkles within this offense. And seeing what he does and how he's different than other point guards that we've had in the past is something that is just a matter of managing expectations. So looking at other performances tonight, Kevin Durant went up for 30 tonight. Devin Booker went for 31. They combined for 61 points. Kevin Durant was 10 of 18 from the field. Booker was 8 of 18 from the field. Kevin Durant was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Booker was 3 of 9 from beyond the arc. Booker had a total of 3 rebounds, while Kevin Durant had 8. And ultimately, they were the catalyst of the production offensively for this team. It was just the players around them not playing super well. I mean, again, I'll talk about the defense, and I'm trying to find. And Aussie Suns fans just put this in the chat. Bradley Beal on health. I tweaked my ankle at the end of the game. Calf was getting a little tight. Kind of expected that on a back-to-back, but I was just being a little smart. I already played that highlight, actually.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
God, dude.
What a waste of fucking time.
Come on.
You typed that whole thing out?
You typed that? You copied and pasted that from Twitter? Come on,
kidding.
Gavin.
From
You're
Gerald?
Better than that.
Was it
Jesus.
from Gerald?
Speaking of which, Gavin, what are you doing Saturday night? Because I think Matthew's going to the game, so I might need somebody to do the podcast with. You fucking idiot.
What? Yeah, one of us is going, so one of us will be going. So
yeah, one of us will be going. It'll bring Matthew. Although I want to go just see Steph Curry.
You just go, man. I was there last time. I was up and close to Steph.
I know, but it's your turn, and it's also Saturday night, and I might be. There's a lot of college football on, and this is just for you.
Oh, nice.
So let's go ahead and hand out the Jam Star.
Jam Star of the game.
Does look like a ding dong.
Yeah, Gavin, you're in, but you can't have bad reporting like that though live on the pod, all right?
Yeah, you can't. We already I literally played the clip. We
dude. Can't have that. We can't have.
He was over on Twitter looking for a quote while I literally played the video. I downloaded the video and uploaded it. Take that, Suns Planet. I produce my own shit.
Oh God, dude. I
love
Suns
those
Planet.
guys, man. I know I do too. And Jake, I hope that if you're listening, which you probably aren't, I was just busting your balls about the drops last night. I don't care. I just think it's a funny thing. There's an homage. If you watch the Suns Planet podcast, they go live every
I think
Saturday morning.
It's
they kind of it is cute.
I like what they do.
It's especially the last episode is really good.
I mean, everyone copies everybody. I don't think it's like the drops and stuff. I mean, it's fine. I just feel like everyone kind of rips everybody off. So we do it.
The drops, the fact that we do drops is not original.
No, I don't think so either. Howard Stern does it, right?
I don't know. do you know where I sniped it from? What gave me the idea to do it? Should do a 5-minute silence for those who are listening. Just the fuck happened?
No, I'm trying to think. Is it a sports pod?
It is.
Who is it?
The fantasy football.
Oh yes, it came right in my head.
When they talk about certain players, they play a little thing, and they're Amari Cooper, little hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah,
I always thought it was funny, so I started to do it.
Yeah, well, the solar panel, the planet,
Sun's Planet. Well, they took the solar panels kind of.
That's how much you know what? And I had to admit too, I don't listen to a lot of other podcasts either. So
I know you're not on social media. I don't know what the fuck you do with your time. That's my question.
You know what?
You're not on Twitter.
You know what?
You don't listen to any other Suns content. What do you do with your time?
This is the thing. So my
pro
whole
wrestling.
Life, no, watching wrestling. Yeah, pro wrestling. Yeah, I keep watching highlights of The Rock and be like, oh damn, I had 5 of his posters in my room.
Still.
No, yeah, I still do. They're on the other side of this. I don't know. I do have a reason for it. We'll go into it next time, though.
You have to go get pie boxes. You spend your life getting pie boxes. Anytime anybody needs anything in their family, we'll just ask Matthew. You're painting a house. What are you doing this weekend, Matthew? I got to paint a house. Why? Well, Stephanie needs to paint it.
I think that I just don't feel like I just have enough. I don't know. I just don't have the capacity anymore like I used to. I don't know. I'll get back to it.
I don't know how I have the capacity. That's the impressive thing. I don't fucking know. Nobody knows how I have the fucking capacity. I do all this, and I write fantasy football blogs for my league, and I create logos for it. It's nuts. That being said,
you get to do it at work too, right?
What's that?
Do you get to do it at work too?
Oh no, that's against the law.
Okay.
Who's your jam star?
I'm gonna give it to me. I'm gonna give myself props for never being there for fantasy basketball. What do I have? 20 points in fantasy basketball?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna give it to me for not showing up for my daughter's birthday this weekend, and just really gonna go to the hills, get rid of everybody, and just move on from life.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to give mine to the Arizona State football team.
Good for them, huh?
They have a big game this weekend. They win, they're in.
Who are they playing?
They play a U of A, dude.
Okay, they're a top 12 team.
Yeah, ASU. I think they're 14.
They're 14 right now. But I'm like, how are they guaranteed 12?
So if they win this game, they go to the Big 12 title game. If you win the Big 12 title game, you're in the first college football playoff. Like everybody predicted ASU to be the worst team in the Big 12. Their first season in the Big 12, mind you. They've been in the Pac-12 and the Pac-10 and what was it before that? The Southwest Conference, the SWC before that. So the first time coming to this conference, and I've been watching a ton of ASU. And here's the best thing about the Sun Devils going to the Big 12. They're no longer on that shitty Pac-12 network. You could only watch the Pac-12 network if you had Cox. So you couldn't ever see them. I couldn't watch ASU free, and I fucking love ASU football. I love Notre Dame football more, but I love ASU football. And watching them, so it's a huge game this weekend. They're going down to Tucson. They're playing, the Wildcats. If they can win that game, they should be. I mean, there's a very weird scenario where I don't think they get in, but they go to the Big 12 title game and have an opportunity to play in the college football playoff. So I think that, for them, that's who I'm giving my jam star to.
All right. Well, I'm with you on that one too.
Perfect. Go Devils right there. The Shaka. All right, Jamsters. We appreciate you taking all the time out of your day to listen to us fucking ramble. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Give us a thumbs up. Don't do any of that. Just enjoy your Thanksgiving, man. We're thankful for you.
Unsubscribing. What's with the unsubscribers?
Do we have unsubscribers?
Yeah, we went down like 5 subscribers or 6 subscribers.
Oh, well.
Probably because they're sick of the Suns. They're sick of it.
Yeah.
They're going to the hills like me this weekend.
Well, they heard us talk about dicks so much that I can't have time to watch phallical podcasts. I don't have a dick. All right. Matthew, tell them what to do.
Go home, love your dicks.